Let's now go live to Marko Gasic, international affairs commentator. Marko, very nice to have you here with us. So why might Europe have changed its mind on giving military planes to Kiev?
Well, it's not rocket science. If you want to have a European war, a NATO-Russia possibly going wider, then send lots of warplanes in from NATO countries. I mean, it's the most stupid idea I've heard of. Many stupid ideas I've been listening to over the last few days. Ideas of no-fly zones by people who really should know much better. People who seem to want this to escalate, and it's a very, very dangerous time we live in. And when idiots are running the media and are in politics, then we have even more danger.
So, but is there a chance? Could Ukraine still get those jets?
There's always a way logistically people can get everything. There'll be serious attempts to arm the Ukrainians as much as possible, because it seems that the West wants a quagmire here. This is, I think personally, a victory for the US policy. It's a win-win for them. They've sucked Russia into Ukraine, and now they want to make sure that it's properly hated forever by anyone in Ukraine. So they want that conflict to be as bad as possible. So of course they will send in as many arms as possible as well. From the US point of view, this is absolutely great news, because you've got an antagonized Ukraine. You've got Germany and the EU now doing the Americans' bidding as they prepare to pay through the nose for sky-high LNG from America. You've got captive weapons markets for US industry. The US started this in 2013-14 when it got a reasonably cohesive nation like Ukraine was then, and polarized its two main views in the pro and anti-Russian into something that led to the war in Donbass, which has never stopped, and which Russia is determined to stop now. But Ukraine was a country that could have worked if the West hadn't meddled. And even then, it was the US that encouraged the EU to go in there and polarize those populations, overthrow the democratically elected government of the time, and replace it with a very nationalist, extremist one, which has been really calling the shots ever since in Ukraine.
So basically, your thought is that such military deliveries escalate the situation rather than help bring peace?
Yeah, it's not rocket science. It's, as I say, military deliveries are designed to kill people, to encourage people to kill each other, rather than to talk to each other, which would be, which I've always suggested would be the best way to go. But this is maybe a short-term victory for the US, but in the long term, this means that the whole processes we have of globalization, the Second World War, legal, financial order, everything is now being replaced by atomization. You're going to have different blocks in the world. The respect for international law is not something that can be offered to Western countries, because Western countries have never actually, since the end of the Cold War, respected international law. I warned in 1999 when Tony Blair launched the first of his two illegal wars, the second one being against Iraq 4 years later, that if Blair got away with it, and the West too, international law would be in the dustbin, and it is. So to hear Western countries talking about sovereignty and territorial integrity, and the UN Charter, Article 2, Paragraph 4, is revolting hypocrisy on their part, because they have been violating every one of those elements ever since the end of the Cold War.
Marko Gasic, international affairs commentator. Marko, thank you very much indeed for your insight.
Thank you, Yulia.
You're up to date. More news in about 30 minutes.